Getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Got a little bit of clean air.
Yeah, you know the car that's not getting much clean air. It's Anthony Castello as we got it off. That's Randall McGrew.
Oh dear, Randall. Around and into the wall. He'll get it back going again. Just has to wait for everyone.
Oh no!
Oh, that's not what it at all. It's a colossal accident. Oh, there's someone in the air. It's Antonelli, I think.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Back up here.
Welcome back to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and welcome back to the American Muscle Series here for the final round of Season 9. We're racing at the Oval. My name is Randall McGrew, and we all just got reminded why I'm in the commentary booth and not in a race car tonight. joining me tonight on commentary is Andre Dirk Grandbouche, and the return of the man, the myth, the legend, Corey Silva is going to be joining us tonight. You may remember him from a few seasons ago. And as always, in the virtual production hauler, Joshua Wilkie on the buttons and knobs. We are set for 70 laps tonight of Charlotte Motor Speedway, or 45 minutes if they go into a bunch of cautions. It could definitely happen. Corey, welcome back. You finally got your wish to see some Mustangs on the oval.
Absolutely wouldn't want to miss a very special occasion, very big moment in the league, obviously, with what's going on with the change of eras here. But absolutely, this is right in my wheelhouse here, right in NASCAR's wheelhouse, and we're doing some essential NASCAR racing here tonight. There.
Yeah, we are. It's going to be awesome. I know you did some testing yourself in this car. You got a little bit curious, as I think a lot of us were, and you were having to lift quite a bit when you went through these corners, but these guys found something in the setup where they do not have to lift, at least on fresh tires. So we're going to be seeing draft racing. We're going to see big packs, close quarters, probably closer quarters for longer sustained times than we have ever seen in this league. And a lot of these guys, like Randall was saying top of the broadcast or before the broadcast, a lot of NASCAR guys in this league, but there is a few that, they're kind of road racing exclusive. So this is going to be a completely new experience, and heaven only knows what we're about to see.
If you look at that leaderboard, we still have 3 divisions of drivers here, but they basically mean nothing. It could be anybody's race here tonight, and you're also seeing we're joining the drivers still in the practice session. You're going to see some tribute paints out there to yours truly. Some guys got together and did some Van Halen stripe jobs on their paint jobs in honor of me. As you may or may not know, this is my last race with the American Muscle Series. We'll be handing it over to Edgar Sanchinelli and Mike Neekum. I've been calling Edgar the Roger Penske of AMS because half the drivers seem to drive for his team, Frito Sport, and now he's going to be running the league. So a change of management underway. After tonight's display, it might be a welcome change.
Yeah, I know, like you said, a lot of NASCAR talent here in the league, and some drivers probably had to explain what a lucky dog meant. So will be a different can of worms here today. But what I'm, as the oval guy, I'm kind of relating this, Dirt, and you could probably either say I'm crazy or agree with it. I'm taking this almost as like a truck race that's a little bit slower, because the trucks, usually they're a pack, but they're going to slowly spread out over time, a little bit of handling coming in. From what you're telling me, it seems like we're going to kind of be in that ballpark.
Yeah, I think a truck race might be comparable in ways. I think the trucks have to lift a little bit more around Charlotte than these guys do, but either way, it's going to be a big unknown, and it is going to be a ton of fun no matter how it turns out. So far in this session, Neil Kemp has a 35-1, but if you look down the board, almost no separation. Every single driver from 1st to 35th is within the same second bracket, only 6/10 from 1st to 35th. So the draft is going to be huge. One thing they might have to think about is when they do come down for their obligatory pit stop, who do they pit with to make sure they keep the draft? That's going to be important. And tires, if they start having to lift, if the tire wear gets to be substantial, do they take 2 tires with that splash of gas? A lot of unknowns, but either way, these guys are already getting some 3-wide action there. I believe that is Mr. Malone shooting his way up through the center, or maybe I'm seeing things. Mike Neekum in this pack and down pit road, maybe trying to practice entry, but that was a little too hot there, Randall.
This is going to give Matt Malone some flashbacks to Interlagos a few seasons ago whenever he had a very hairy pit entry. But before we get into qualifying, because the qualifying is going to be very short and very fast, we got some points to go through because tonight's race is double points. So they do get 2 drop weeks. You don't want to drop this one because everybody else is going to be getting double points. Right now in that pro division, leading the way is Kevin Parrish with a slim 3-point lead over Luis Enriquez. But then Luke Sudengay seems to be out of contact, but with double points on offer tonight, anything is possible. Luke Sudengay or even Taylor Belant could jump up there and sneak away with the championship. And then we're going to jump over to the Challenger division, where Mr. Dahan O'Toole leads the way with 437 points over Mark Cohen with 403. Matt Thompson sitting on 398, not far behind them, Ryan Campbell with 393. Even Levi Powell is kind of in striking distance here. If there's a big wreck that it takes out a lot of these challengers, then he could be in a position to sneak away with the Challenger division this season. And then over to the much smaller but always exciting amateur division, where I'm not going to be surprised if we see somebody on the overall podium from this division. Freddie Weaver leading the way, 458 points with a commanding lead over Joe Sacchetti. He's pretty much got this one wrapped up. John Casey in third. They're basically fighting over second and third place at this point in the season. Double points on offer for all these divisions tonight. The divisions will count for scoring purposes, but that's basically the only thing that they're good for tonight. You're going to see, I'm calling it, there's going to be an amateur on the overall podium.
Yeah, we'll certainly see if that's correct, Randall. And, you know, something that we talk about a lot of times on the Daytona Talladega races, which we're kind of, you know, painting that picture here today. Where do you play on the risk versus reward? Where do you play on the survival versus aggression meter? Of course, with the double points on offer and the positions that can be gained there, but no fast repair, a high probability of getting caught up in a huge wreck. Do you play the strategy of waiting in the back and letting them wreck, or do you want to stay at the front of the pack at all costs, guys?
And I will say that they were asking me if there was going to be a fast repair, and I said, heck no, I don't want this to turn into a pacing race. Because what it seems to happen every time that there's fast repairs on an oval is somebody goes out and crashes. They go get a repair, then they go out and they crash again.
Yeah, that does tend to be the case. And I've always said, usually in regards to Daytona and Talladega, but I think it applies here as well, there is only two safe places in this entire pack. It is going to be either first place or last place. In those positions, you are the master of your own destiny. You can kind of decide what happens and where you take your car. But anywhere else, if you're in the mix of it, if you're in the fray, you are at the mercy of everybody else. You're going to be 2-3 wide, cars ahead, cars behind, and high probability something happens that is completely out of your control. So if you're one of these drivers that is in it for the championship, you either need to drive hard to get up to the front, or you need to maybe just lay back and head towards the rear. Big loose there, ahead of Fabian's wire, but he's able to get down pit road. Which I notice a lot of these guys practicing that pit road entry. It's not something they're really used to doing, getting to that pit road off of an oval, but either way, it is going to be so fun to watch the pit sequences especially. But man, as this timer goes down, I'm just getting more and more anxious to watch the race.
And I got
just about 20
there,
seconds
Randall.
left. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Corey.
I got to have you put your driver's hat back on if you can do that. How does this thing bump draft? That's something you'll see on the straightaways here on the regular circuit tracks, but here, I mean, there's going to be the temptation to push around this entire 1.5 miles as we enter qualifying.
Bump drafting is definitely a strategy in this car. They have been warned that pushing the pusher, not a great idea, but I expect once they get about 20 laps into a run that they're going to be a little bit more leery when it comes to bump drafting, especially as they get close to the corners, because the handling is going to be a big deal, and maybe trying to set up a move is going to become the order of the day instead of trying to bump draft. They're going to be cutting over to qualifying now. One quick shout out I want to give is to Whiplash Sim Cams. We have some really awesome cameras tonight. Boy, it sounds like I've been drinking already. Really awesome cameras tonight here at Charlotte. Thank you so much to Whiplash Sim Cams for providing them for slow motion broadcasting. Go check out Whiplash Sim Cams. We're going to be jumping into qualifying. They have 5 minutes, only 5 minutes to sit 3 laps. That's plenty of time around a place like Charlotte. We're going to jump on board here. We got Matthew Gazinda. We're not going to do a lap guide tonight, guys. I mean, what's the point? It's go 1,000 feet, turn left. Yeah, go 1,000 feet, turn left.
Yeah, I think there was a Carl Edwards commercial for a GPS company back in the day where it was just turn left again. And that was back when they actually put effort into making the commercials entertaining. But nonetheless, it's going to be pretty straightforward for these guys, you would think, right? I mean, that's what it sounds like, go fast, turn left. But one thing that they're going to probably want to do is the old Daytona strategy. This first out lap, they're going to want to take on the outside of the track. They're going to want to go high in the corners, make the lap as long as they possibly can to wind that motor up, get a little bit more momentum. And then on their hot lap, they want to dive down and ride that blue and white line as tightly as they can and do not deviate from it. Anybody who's got that down is going to do really good in qualifying, but anybody who just sticks to that white and blue line for both laps or all 3 laps, maybe not going to quite get that few thousandths of a second. And a few thousandths of a second usually doesn't matter that much in qualifying, but right here, that could be the difference between pole or outside of the top 10.
I'm going to veto you a little bit there, Dirt, actually. Just because of the fact that the corners here are tighter than, Daytona, Talladega, Michigan Auto Club. I think you're going to want to run more of that traditional line as the driver we're following right now. You can see going out wide and then entering the corner with that normal apex. Because if you do run it too tight on that blue line. You're going to be putting too much wheel into it. That's scrubbing speed. That's adding time.
And this is the first gamble of the evening. Some of these drivers are going to be gunning for pole position and not quite going to make it, going to find themselves starting in the mid-pack. Some of these drivers may lay off in qualifying to try to get that back starting spot, or maybe not even qualify at all to start at the rear of the pack. So going for a hot lap around here may be the first gamble of the evening and put you in the danger zone right from the start, as Luis Enriquez is going to jump up to the pole position, the first driver to break through the 36 barrier with a 35.825. I very much suspect that the third lap for these drivers will be their fastest.
Yeah, as the tires heat up a little bit, that is going to give them a little bit more grip, and the cold tire is going to slide around a bit. So I would expect the third lap to be pretty good for these guys as well. For a very brief moment, and I mean about 5 seconds, Mark Royce was the top of the board with that 36.0, but then, there he goes again to the top of the board, 35.65. That is a heck of a lap. Dahan O'Toole himself, who's running a honorary NASCAR-style paint scheme, going to be P2 with a 35.661. And there it is. Luis Enriquez down to third. We'll see if he improves, if he's not already made 3 laps. I think he might have. So, like you predicted, Randall, these divisions not mattering as much as at a road course.
Not at all. We have 2 challengers leading the way. Freddie Weaver in the amateur division up there in P4 as it stands right now. So it could be a wild start here with some drivers starting in the front. They're not used to starting in the front, though I suspect they're all very comfortable on oval, so they won't have any qualms being in the front. But once the official grid is set, we will be going through it live here on air. Not a surprise that the leaderboard looks more like a Christmas tree than it does in a normal road race here in the American Muscle Series. Going to see some drivers that are going to be struggling. Probably some drivers that sandbagged their qualifying or didn't even qualify at all. Looks like everybody has attempted at least to set a time. Charlie Hosey looks like he's definitely carrying a sandbag or 2 in that car with a 37.1.
Malone, P1.
Oh, there we go. Matt Malone is the full-time turkey is going to jump up to P1 here in the closing stages. They got 1 more minute, but everybody's pretty much set all their laps so far. Brandon Smith, Levi Powell, Charlie Hosey, Scott Brooks are about the only ones out there on their final laps. We're going to watch Matt Malone on his cool down lap. Waiting to see if there's any shakeups here. With Brandon Smith's going to jump up to 20th, and still a couple more drivers going to finish their last lap here. Levi Powell getting ready to cross the line. Charlie Hosey also getting ready to cross the line. We'll see if he's got the sandbags out of that car or not. But right now, Charlie's going to be lining up. Oh, there you go. He jumps up to the 28th position. Jeff Andrus is going to slot in P25. So that's just going to be about everybody. I got to ask, boys, what's your strategy starting this race if you're in that mid-pack?
I think if you're 10th through 25th, your goal is one of 2 things. It's to get in the top 10 or it's to drop to the back. That's my personal take on it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. You don't want to be mid-pack. This is such an unknown. These guys are not used to racing with each other on an oval. And being in the middle, that is a huge risk. Now, if you're somebody who's not necessarily in it for the points, maybe not that big of a deal. But there's a lot of drivers that are still mathematically eligible. And you'd think, at least you'd like to think, they're going to play it safe. But who knows?
Just waiting on those official results to come in that we can go through the grid. We have 3 people here. We're going to go 10 at a time. Matt Malone, the full-time turkey, is going to be starting on the front row on pole position. Next to him, Challenger Division pole, Mark Royce. Dahan O'Toole is going to line up 3rd. Luis Enriquez, championship hopeful, is going to line up in 4th. Freddie Weaver is going to start in 5th. He's also on the amateur division pole. Neil Kemp is going to line up in 6th place. Luke Sudengate is going to start in P7. Andrew Bailing in P8. Mark Cohn is going to roll off in P9. Next to him in P10, Ryan Campbell.
Outside of the top 10, it is going to be Jeff Schnackle in P11, right alongside Tom Wendt in 12th. 13th belongs to Joe Cicchetti, and David Moore, Super Dave Moore, is going to be P14. 15 and 16 going to Jay Bast and Kevin Buckles. Behind them, Matt Thompson, 17th, Brendan Carl, P18. Running out the top 20, Taylor Ballant in that 21 machine, and Brandon Smith in the 197, Corey.
Yep, and then we go back to Fabian Zweier in 21st, Chuck Labano in 22nd, Andy Bell going to roll off 23rd with Matthew Guzenda to his outside, Jeff Andrus and Kevin Parrish. Odd to see him back there. He's back in 26th. We got Aaron That Face Bray in 27th. Yes. Charlie Hosey in 28th, John Casey 29th, and Dave Blair in 30th. Thank you for carrying that tradition.
Rounding out the rest of the field, Mike Neekum's going to line up 31st, Levi Powell in 32nd, Scott Brooks in 33rd, David Finch 34th, Ed Santinelli going to be starting all the way back in 35th, and not setting a lap time, and I don't know if he's going to take to the grid or not. Daniel Gabaldon is going to be starting in a 36th position. This is basically a NASCAR field.
Yeah, he's on track.
Yeah, there he is. So we basically have a NASCAR field here, a very slow NASCAR field, but it's 36 Mustangs going to be taken to the high banks of Charlotte Oval for 70 laps or 45 minutes, whichever comes first. We got a moment here while they get ready to roll off for the pace laps. What are your guys' predictions?
So I'm going to say, and I don't want to be the pessimist, I want to be the realist. I think by lap 5 we're going to have our first caution, but I think after that they're going to get themselves sorted and we'll have ourselves a good run and we'll see a lot of 2-3 wide racing.
It's hard for me to make a prediction because if this was any other league, I'm going to immediately say, oh yeah, going to be a big wreck, going to be chaos early on. This is AMS. These guys are, and I'm not just fluffing up the league, these are really good drivers. I mean, from the front of the field to the back, there is a lot of talent here. And these guys are no strangers to battling up close and personal. Maybe not in the style of draft racing or oval racing, but they have a lot of pressure week in and week out, and they have a lot of good battles. So they're cool and collected most of the time. I think it's going to be a cleaner race than I was really expecting, or maybe Corey's expecting. But who knows? We'll see. You've got my optimistic take. You've got Corey's realistic take. We'll have to see who turns out to be right.
Hey guys, I think 5 laps might be. Oh, here we are. You didn't even give me a chance. Oh, nobody locked the door. Why didn't you lock the door?
I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I just wanted to come in and say the race is going to go absolutely swimmingly because Randall McGrew is a Marine and he doesn't know how to drive and he's not in the field tonight. And also, Randall, you don't love me anymore. Goodbye. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Bye.
Here we go. That's the only time in my entire time that I've known Adam Thompson that he came in a bit low and was hard to hear. So my apologies if you couldn't hear that. Maybe you want to rewind and turn up the volume a little bit, but I heard we got him adjusted by the time he was done with his little rant. Air Force sucks, by the way, Adam. I love you. Get ready to go green here. The pace car lights are out, so I think they're going to be going green this time. They're going to be going 2 by 2. The field will be in the hands of Mr. Matt Malone, a man not unaccustomed to starting on the front row of an oval race. We'll see if he's able to parlay this into a win. They're making their way through ovals 3 and 4 right now. I guess I shouldn't call it oval 3 and 4. It's just turns 3 and 4 right now.
Yes,
we're going to see that safety car dip into the safety of pit lane here at the very last moment. Yes, a pace car. That's right. The field is now in Matt Malone's hands. He's got to hit that restart zone. You're going to see it there on the inside of the track. It is up to him to start the race. Green flag is in the air. We are underway here in Charlotte for the first time in the American Muscle Series on an oval. Matt Malone gets a bad jump. Mark Royce caught him sleeping a little bit there, I think, and is going to have the run on the high line. But is Matt Malone going to be able to freight train there on the bottom? It looks like they got it going. So far, so good as they go into turn 1. Waiting to see smoke in the background, though.
They were 3 wide before they ever even got to the start-finish line. That is how anxious and antsy these guys were. And I'll tell you what, there's a few drivers in the sucker hole there. Not a good place to be going into the corner. Matt Malone able to hold on to that bottom groove. Dehano Toot now goes into the sucker hole. They're 3 wide for 3rd place. Mark Royce trying to hold them off, blocking 1, 2, and 3 lanes individually. This is what Matt Malone's got to look out for, though. You do not want to get too big of a lead because you're going to give a huge run in the draft. Everybody behind you, they're going to get a massive slingshot, potentially overtake. And some momentum on the high side actually working a little bit there for Andrew Bailey.
Looked like cold tires maybe caught Dan Ott out a little bit as he's made his way into turn 3 for the first time in the draft and had to back out of it. And you saw him run a little bit high. I think maybe cold tires catching a few of these drivers out. We do see Charlie Hosey has a black flag. I'm not sure what that is for. I do not see anything in the stewarding chat, so maybe he jumped the start or something. Maybe passed it too early. I'm not sure exactly. I think they're not allowed to pass on the left-hand side before the start-finish line under oval rules, if I remember correctly. I'm sure Corey will correct me if I'm wrong, but they're starting to get stretched out here, and it colored me shocked that we haven't seen a caution yet.
Well, we're already starting to get to that spread-out point, so as each lap goes by, as you guys were saying, the cars are going to get a little bit more difficult, so you got to get what you can get early in the run. I see Dehano Tooth there washing up the track in 3 and 4. that pushed the other driver up the track a little bit higher. That's Andrew Belling there. But one thing I want to point out, guys, this quad oval, it's not easy when you're 2-3 wide. It's basically 2 separate turns at this speed. That is a little more problematic than I think you pointed out.
We do see somebody having a connection issue there. Hopefully that clears up, or iRacing boots him out here very quickly. It's Neil Kemp. He has had some issues in a few races in the past. It's a bigger issue here on the oval where you're running this close to people. Dirt, I can only imagine what it's like to be behind somebody blinking on the oval.
Yeah, I've been in race control scenarios where I have to get on the radio and tell somebody, hey, if you can't put the tinfoil on your router, I might have to black flag you, because it does cause wrecks. You know, you reappear and you startle somebody, they don't know you're there, they react to it, now you got to pile up. It is a scary situation. And speaking of scary, how about scary fast? Mark Royce put the quarter panel to Malone. You caught it in the corner of the frame a few moments ago. There was a little bit of contact. It allowed Mark Royce to get to the front, but now they're going to go side by side again, seeing some tandem drafting action as Malone going to fall back in the corner, but a huge run out. Is he going to take it down low? The crossover maneuver. Lap traffic up ahead already. They're going to have to contend with that. Blue flag is going to be informational here. I don't know where he's going to go. He's going to stick down low. Matt Malone to the top, and they're going to be side by side for second place. Mark Royce, Luis Enriquez. They're all funneling by this lap machine 3 wide. There goes Tejano 2. Not a fun situation for Dave Blair to be the lap car, trying to figure out how am I going to let these guys go without wrecking myself. Because, again, you don't want to clip that apron, Randall. When you're going around the corner, if you try to get down the apron to let these guys go, you're going to spin yourself out. So he did exactly what he needed to do, but on an oval, it's just never a comfortable situation.
I know Dave Blair's going to be praying for a caution and also praying that it's not him, because he will be the lucky dog at this point of the race. I did see in the stewarding chat that the race control did clear Charlie Hosey's penalty, so he must have looked at the incident and decided that it wasn't Hosey's fault, cleared that penalty, so Hosey did not have to serve that black flag. I suspect it maybe had something to do with the reason why Dave Blair is a lap down. As we see a little bit of bump drafting, Luis Enriquez is going to have to run on the inside here on Matt Malone. Matt Malone had Mark Royce there pushing him as they made their way down the straightaway. Uh-oh, and there's trouble behind. Yellow flag is out for the first time here. And who do we have? It was like Freddie Weaver. A shot
hard into the inside pit wall.
Hard into the inside wall. It looks like he'll be able to get some repairs done on that car and get it going again. But that is going to be a very, very damaged Mustang. It looks like just a big checkup started back going into turn 3, and then Luke Sudengate gets into the back of Freddie Weaver, and he does a really good job of trying to wrangle it and just can't get it, and just drives right into the barrier. Luckily it's that softer barrier, but it's still going to do a heavy amount of damage to that front end, and these cars are a little bit aero dependent here at a track like this. But Corey, Andre, he does have some time to get some of these things repaired in pit lane if he knows how to do it, and he's an oval racer, so do you think he's got a shot to get back into this?
I'm going to give him the optimistic side of it here, which is rare for me, is to be optimistic, as you guys know. But as long as he has no engine damage, the draft is the greatest Band-Aid that you could ever imagine. I have been in races, I've driven cars that had no business competing. And as long as you have a car in front of you, a lot of times, if there's no engine damage, you can compete with the best of them. So I think that's his biggest concern. And if he gets the aero fixed, that's icing on the cake.
And now this is good news for Dave Blair. He will get that lucky dog, so he'll get back on the lead lap. So erase his mistake that he had at the start that put him down a lap early. But Freddie Weaver is going to have to hustle to try to get this car repaired as quickly as he can and get back. I don't think he's going to go a lap down, but Dirt, he's got his hands full now.
Yeah, I was going to say the counterpoint to what Corey was saying is, the draft is going to be a big Band-Aid, and as long as he's tucked in behind somebody, they can probably tow him around the track just fine and not really worry about it too much. But he's not really going to be able to lead the pack. His car is going to be really slow at the front of the field. So if it gets down to it, lap 70, and he's in a position to try to make a move for the lead, really his options are limited. He's got to make the move at the last possible second, because the second his car is the lead car, that parachute's going to be deployed and he will plummet in terms of speed. So he's going to have to kind of ride around, maybe hope for a couple more cautions so that he can get the damage fixed up a little bit more. And if that happens, maybe he won't have any issues whatsoever. But that is just hoping for some cautions that are not guaranteed. So for the time being, play it conservative. He might be able to salvage some points. There goes Dave Blair taking the Aaron's lucky dog. I was actually just talking, I think, with Corey the other day about how Aaron's got more out of that sponsorship than they have probably ever wagered. because it was called the Lucky Dog because of Aaron's. They stopped sponsoring it, and they kept calling it the Lucky Dog. So, like, ever since, and it's just what it's known as.
Oh, and so Randall, because this was always a big debate on our side, we're at a NASCAR track, so we have two things. We already corrected you on one. It's a pace car here, and it is not a livery here. It's a paint scheme. We're in NASCAR country.
Slap some duct tape on it and it all looks the same anyway. We did see, we're seeing Freddie Weaver dump in the pit lane now. We did see one other driver come down pit lane. Brandon Carl come down and taking an early refuel, maybe trying to get off cycle a little bit with tires to try to make some ground up. That's another strategy we could see employed tonight, is some drivers trying to get off cycle just a little bit. They will need to refuel a little bit for this race, so there will be at least one pit stop. I doubt that they're in the window enough so far to get there on fuel, but to get on tires early might be a big move.
Yeah. Trying to see here on my end, if my end sim, I can see what the fuel load is here. The fuel time, the lap times are, but I can't see the lap range. Maybe someone has that information for us. But yeah, I would imagine 40%. I wouldn't think they can go here from there. But we're heading to turn 3. We're doubled up. We're stacked up. We're ready to go back green flag racing. We've got a taste of what happens. That, you know, it's good to lead a lane, but you could certainly get runs from behind. And we saw how quickly we went 3 wide on the initial start. So I think we're going to see a little bit more of that this restart.
Absolutely. Matt Malone was able to find his way back to the lead before the yellow flag came out. He will lead them down to the restart zone once again. Luis Enriquez is going to be starting on his outside. Championship hopeful there. Luis Enriquez starting in second. We're going to watch Malone slowly roll and control the field down to the restart zone. Wait for him to punch it. Green flag is in the air. Once again, we're underway. Malone not caught sleeping this time for the line. He did not get jumped by Mark Royce, and he's going to get Luis Enriquez a little bit on the back foot as they're going to be going 2 and 3 wide behind. And here, Malone missed the shift, and here comes Mark Royce up the inside. This is going to put Malone back quite a few spots. A really terrible time to miss a shift.
Yeah, you do not want to miss that shift on a restart, and unfortunately, that's going to cost him 4-5 positions, it looks like. Not so far back that it's an insurmountable recovery. He'll probably be back up there before too long, but now he's got to do something he's not really done all night, and that is navigate traffic and try to make overtakes. In the meantime, Mark Royce, who was probably the second fastest car in that first stint, is now leading the way. A little bit of challenge from Andrew Bailing on the outside. Not as much draft help. The outside not formed up quite as much, but you know, on these opening laps when the tires are a little cold, I think that outside's a little bit better for just a lap or two, and then you want to get down to the bottom. So Bailing's going to be doing really well here, but come next time around, he may want to think about trying to get down, which is not going to be easy. I mean, you can see that wall of cars, Nahano, Toot, a few others, blocking that low lane. Once you're in a lane, generally you are committed to it, and you've got to be real vigilant for any potential openings.
It looked like maybe Mark Royce was flirting with the wall there as he came into the quad oval. You see the brake lights coming on. That's another thing you don't normally see in NASCAR, brake lights. We're going to see a few of those flashing here tonight. Hopefully nobody interprets that as somebody slamming on the brakes, and we know they'll be riding both pedals trying to keep there in line. Seen a lot of fresh paints here tonight and get the good view of them under the lights here at Charlotte. They haven't stretched out and gotten single file very much. They've been running 2x2 a lot more than we saw on the opening start. So this has really formed up into a big pack race. They were suspecting it was going to be super speedway-like racing. The front is starting to shake out just a little bit as Dahano 2 being forced down a little bit low, but he's going to hold his ground and keep it up there. And they're going to be going 2x2 into turn 1 again. A little bit of bump and grind there between Mark Royce and Andrew Bailing. But they're going to get out of it. So far, so good. Doesn't even have any visible damage on those Mustangs. But this is shaping up to be a very much an oval-style race. A little bit more than I expected.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the side draft comes into play here, but that looks like what Bailing was trying to do there from the outside. And we are wrecking in the back.
Like Matthew Gazinda and Matt Thompson are both dropping down the order. Not seeing a yellow flag in the air yet, so maybe they were able to recover it, but there we go. Yellow flag is in the air finally for the second time here tonight at Charlotte. Matt Malone finds himself back in 8th after that first restart. We have a challenger leading this time. We're going to take a look at what happened here. Andre, talk us through it.
So they were going to be 2 wide. Charlie Hosey on the outside. He kind of tucks in. Single file, but a huge shot from Hosey. Big shot is going to get Neekum turned around. It was a Randall McGrew car in front of a Randall McGrew car, and Randall McGrew spun while he was in the booth. So able to stay off the wall, not too much damage to your tribute paint scheme there, Randall, but going to lose some time. And take one more look at it, you can see Charlie just drove it down the bank and got a really good run. And I don't know if he thought that was going to work out. Daniel Gabaldon gets a little bit of it there too, kind of gets pushed wide, some damage to the left front and the door, but overall looks like he should be all right. He can come down pit road, and that is something you can do on oval, and we did see it last time on the other yellow. You can come down, get the damage fixed, beat the pace car out, come down pit road again. We're making multiple pace laps. So here comes Matt Malone. This is interesting.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go off cycle here a little bit. We're going to see a few more drivers are going to follow him in, most of those at the back, and also Freddie Weaver going to try to get some more repairs done on that car. Dave Blair I'm seeing with a meatball flag, so he must have been collected in that incident as well. Brandon Carl coming down for gas one more time. I doubt he's going to put tires on there again if he did last time. So some drivers trying to play the strategy game here early. Some of these oval veterans knowing that fresh tires could really dominate, or maybe just being there and having fuel at the end of the race. If you get enough yellows, you might be able to stretch it out.
Yeah, I do want to point out, guys, that it was off air, but I did point out Tom Wendt had one of the best saves I've seen in a long time, so I want to give him credit for what he did there. He was ahead of that incident that we saw. But to you guys' point, getting fresh tires, 16 laps in, I think we're far enough into the run now that those tires will certainly be a beneficial thing. I don't know if it necessarily means something on the stopwatch, but certainly just having that agility, which is going to be very important. Having a little bit more agility is certainly going to be something you'll notice.
They're seeing the cars coming out of pit lane, everybody trying to reform with the pack. It looks like Schnackel, he looked a little unstable there. I know he was going pretty slowly. He might have been trying to get a feel for the tires, but it looked like he was maybe dog tracking a little bit. So I wonder if he picked up a little damage. You see Freddie Weaver rolling off with some heavy damage still on the front end of that Mustang, been able to get repairs. He's going to keep himself on the lead lap. Here comes Daniel Gabaldon, who got a little bit of damage there. I think the pace car lights are going to be out as they cross the line this time. They're going to be going 2 by 2. We have one more pace lap before we go green again. Yes, indeed, the lights are out on the pace car. Mark Royce going to lead the way. Andrew Bailey going to start in second. And so far, other than the initial start, it looks like second place is the worst place to start.
That has been the trend. Being on the outside has not been too friendly, but we'll have to wait and see. I know that Andrew Bailey, he's actually kind of preferred the high lane this entire race. I've never really seen him migrate to the bottom, even when the door did open up. So maybe he's just comfortable up there. We'll see how this restart goes. A little bit of a blink there out of race leader Mark Royce there on the bottom lane, but seems to have stabilized pretty well. A few more cars catching up to the field, and you see the 229 as well, all the way back there. Freddie Weaver, he got some more damage fixed, so not sure what the state of his car is now, but something seems to have happened with Schnackel. Taking a look at a slow-mo broadcasting replay, I think the trigger was just having him slow down. It might have just been a little, yeah, that happens. iRacing loves to do that.
I think they're trying to figure out who's supposed to be where. They've been told to follow on-screen directions. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy to me that iRacing was a game developed from a kernel that was oval racing. It was a NASCAR game, and it's still terrible at oval race control. But be that as it may, they're going to be restarting here. Mark Royce is leading them down to take the green flag once again. Green flag in the air. Mark Royce with a beautiful jump. It's going to promote Mark Cohn temporarily up the second. Andrew Bailey's going to have a lot of work to do. Looks like that second place is the sucker starting spot. They don't really get a good view of when the leader's going to go. They don't have a lot of practice with it. Mark Royce is going to be free and clear as they make their way through turn one. Mark Cohn's going to get up to second. Andrew Bailey is going to drop down to the bottom line there for the first time this evening, and he's going to go look into the inside of Mark Cohn to try to get that spot back right away as Mark is going to pull up to Mark's rear bumper. It's a Mark on Mark show.
Yeah, Bob's your uncle. He's going to go 2 for 1 here. Andrew Bailey third to first in one corner, but Royce not going down without a fight. Doesn't have any help up there. That's Cohn giving the push to Bailey there, but Royce using that momentum from the outside with no help, just using that extra banking, using that extra speed. He's making time up there, and now here comes Dehano Toot to his drafting assistance.
Yeah, leave it to the driver to completely go against what I just said. I said Bailey seems to prefer the high lane, but he immediately went low. Now he's going to be 3 wide in the middle. That is the worst place to be. Very little draft help. The 139 machine trying to make a pass on him there. and Luis Enriquez watching it all happen from just a row back, trying to figure out where these guys are going to go. And a little bit of contact there, I believe, between Dejano to Andrew Bailing, but they sorted out. And you just know some of these championship contenders are saying, settle it down, do not do anything this early in the race. Right now, with the lap times they are running, we are just barely on pace to finish this before the timer. So even if we get another caution, we may be able to get to that lap 70 mark very early in this race. We don't want to make any big mistakes, have a big one too early. But to the point, the watchman, Mark Cohn, is going to try to get a lap lead with a huge surge through 3 and 4. Don't know that he's going to be able to keep it. Big run coming off that high side. Mark Royce is going to just barely get the advantage. But Mark Cohn, he's been good in qualifying, good in practice, and now showing really good pace in this race.
I found here at Charlotte, especially in slower cars, if you have the grip to get the throttle very early on that high line, that you're able to choke off that inside line as it comes to that quad oval. The track gets very narrow there, and you're able to make that inside driver put a little bit more wheel in that car and win that drag race to the start-finish line. That might be a dress rehearsal for what we see here in the closing laps tonight. I want to point out Kevin Parrish is now up to 13th. He started all the way down in 26th, finds himself mired there in the middle of the pack, trying to make his way forward. Luis Enriquez, his rival, up in P6 right now, just now jumped up to P5. There's lots of shuffling going on here. Kevin Parrish has got his work cut out for him. He's got the wipers on. He's like, get out of my way.
Yeah, we don't have the rain here, but that's something you'll actually have. You're going to have a lot of rubber, a lot of dirt buildup. It will actually affect you, and luckily they have the ability to wash that right off. You get a nice onboard shot with Parrish here running that on inside lane. But to the point you just made there, Randall, about the inside being pinched off, the outside having the momentum to clear, this is a really good dress rehearsal for some of these drivers in the back. A Parrish, a Matt Malone getting through the pack. What moves are going to work at the end? Where do you want to be in those closing laps? Where can you make the runs? How many cars can you pass at a few laps at a time? This is a good dress rehearsal for later in the race.
Going to go through the leaderboard a little bit here. Challenger division leader right now, Mark Cohn is leading the Challenger division. Andrew Bailing leading in the Pro division in P3. And we have to look all the way back, surprisingly, to P15 to see Andy Bell, the Iceman cometh in 15th right now, is leading the way in the amateur division. I really suspect one of those drivers is going to make his way forward. But we've seen a lot of jockeying here early on in the race. And yeah, I'm a little surprised we haven't had another yellow, just the way they've been moving around so much here in the corners.
Yeah, it's one of those situations. I know that Corey called it a dress rehearsal, but I'm seeing all-out war. These guys are just absolutely going all out for position, and I know that Kevin Parrish not showing a lot of patience. We got a big
trouble.
Big one.
That is going to be 2 hard hits for somebody.
Matt Malone.
Make it out. Oh no.
We'll try to get the replay dialed up of what happened there, but the full-time turkey is going to have another struggle with the pit entry here. He does not like pit entries. We're going to see he's all the way back here in the back. We saw him come in for an early stop, and it looks like a big checkup. Everybody kind of fanning out. That was Levi Powell, I think, that got into the wall, and then maybe a bit of net code there that caused him to spin like that.
Andy
I'm not
Bell,
exactly
that
sure.
was. Andy
Or
Bell.
it's Andy Bell. Sorry, you're right. So there's a big check up here. Andy Bell gets in the wall. Malone checks up, and then suddenly his car is just spinning, and I'm not sure.
Oh, that second wind to the wall by Bell, and Malone he was already 3 wide. He had nowhere to go, and at that point in the corner, you can't make aggressive moves. The car ain't going to move that much. So Matt Malone, again, that was a strategy call. He went off strategy. He put fuel in the car, and as we've said all race, the risk and reward. You put yourself in the hornet's nest, you're going to get stung.
We're seeing lots of meatball flags on the leaderboard too. Mike Neekum, Andy Bell, Matt Malone, all with heavy damage. And look at Andy Bell as he tries to limp that thing around with 3 wheels. Just toe, man. Just toe.
No, I think he's going to get it down. But yeah, 3 meatballs out of that wreck. And that was kind of going back to what I said at the start of the broadcast. There is only 2 safe places. Either you're in the lead and you're good to go. You only got to pay attention to the mirror, or you are in last place and you just kind of have to keep an eye out for the cars ahead. But Matt Malone put himself in a situation there by pitting and taking that strategy. He was in the thick of it, and he was not very patient about riding around in the back. He wanted to get up front, but unfortunately chaos broke out in front of him, and it just 3 wide situation, middle of the corner. You're not getting through that one, Harry. You're just not getting through it. and that's going to be a ton of damage for the Malone machine. We'll see if he can get it back out on track, but either way, that is, because he was part-time this season, not too big of a change to the championship, but that could have been anybody. So Luke Sudengay coming out of the pits, Charlie Hosey, Mark Royce still holding on to the race lead thus far. David Finch. So definitely, Randall, we are seeing a lot of split strategies here.
Yeah, and Luke Sudengay is the first of the Pro Division Championship hopefuls to come down pit lane. That's going to put him back there where Matt Malone was. So a bold strategy call out of Luke Sudengay. We'll see if it plays out for him. But the three meatballs, they're on pit lane looking like a $5 footlong here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're going to see one more look at how this played out from Andy Bell's perspective this time. There was just a big checkup there out of Fabian's Ware. I'm trying to see who that was in front of him, and Brandon Smith as well. And he just tried to avoid and ended up getting into the wall, and that's what collected Matt Malone and maybe a couple others. And yeah, he ended up with a wheel missing from that car, limping it home back to pit lane. He did make it. Lights are out on the safety car. They're coming into turn one, so we have a few moments left before they take the green one more time. Mark Royce going to lead the way again. Andrew Bailey going to be starting on the outside this time. Maybe now that he's had a look at it, he'll have a better shot at getting that start timed out.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers, it does depend. I mean, in the world of sim racing, it depends on your setup. Some drivers are single screen, some drivers have triple screen, some drivers are VR, ultra wide, what have you. If you don't have that peripheral vision to be able to have that eye to the left, really hard to make that timing call on when to accelerate. And but a track like this, sometimes you get away with it because, as we've seen a few times, if you jump out to a big gap, that's a huge slipstream for the driver behind. Sometimes that gives you the run you actually need to make the pass.
Yeah, that is a big factor. And also knowing just when to shift to keep the momentum. I mean, the exact right RPM. At a road course, obviously, it's important just like on oval, but on oval, momentum is just everything. It's so much more than a road course where you're going to be diving into a corner and immediately getting on the brakes. They're not hitting the brakes here, so every bit of speed they can build up is going to be useful. But Mark Royce is going to be a little bit ahead of the field. I don't know what is going on there. Andrew Bailing checking up that outside groove. That was a bit of a clustered restart. Not sure how the stewards are going to feel about that because that may have given somebody a black flag. Doesn't look like it on the pylon yet, but that was a strange restart for the outside. It opened up the door for DeHaan O'Toole and Mark Royce to get single file there for 1 and 2. Don't look now. Big charge coming out of Ryan Campbell. He was low. Now he looks high. Trying to get a 2-for-1 special. He got around DeHaan O'Toole. Got a little bit of help from Jay Bast. Right behind. He might take it all the way. Good run out of the corner.
3 challengers leading the way here at Charlotte. We are serving lap number 30 now. No, lap number 29 now out of potentially 70, but it's probably going to be running to time. They do have 45 minutes. There are 3 green-white checkers. We'll see if they have to use any of those. Mark Royce is getting... the yellow flag is out once again. He said that was Matt Malone around at the back. Still seeing another meatball flag on Andy Bell, so maybe he's still in the pit lane getting repairs, but the full-time turkey is bringing out the yellow flags here tonight. Maybe somebody's going to have to tell him maybe he needs to stick to road racing.
Yeah, I kept an eye on him, and that car is not just aero damaged. That car is damaged in 3 ways to Sunday, and he's just having trouble putting it around the track even by himself. So I
There's
think
a loose nut behind the wheel, I think.
I think it algorithmically brought out our caution flag, and as you guys were saying, we were right on the cusp with our estimator of making it to the end. And I think that now we're going to have more of a fuel strategy to play because if you haven't pitted yet, how many laps are you planning for?
That's going to be a big deal here. Unless they get a massive green flag run, there's no way that they're going to be able to get 70 laps done before the timer runs out. You see we're just crested 26 minutes out of the 45 minutes allotted for this race. Mark Royce continues to lead the way. I want to remind you guys, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you know every time Slow Motion Broadcasting goes live. While we're under yellow, I do have a couple of shout outs I want to make. I want to give a big shout out to Mike Neekum. Check out the D-Nut Stuff shop over on Etsy. He's got lots of cool brake mods, rig mods, everything that you can need for your sim racing rig. He's got it over there. You can get laser etched slate trophies or PDFs printed up over there in his shop. get AMS swag as we see a big bunch of leaders coming down pit lane. So a bunch of the leaders coming in now to get service, and it could be everybody's thinking the same thing that you were thinking there, Corey, that now it's a fuel race. Now they're going to have to try to get a number and try to get back out there and get track position. But this is really going to shake up the order.
Absolutely. And, you know, obviously for Mark Royce, for Dejano Toot there, they saw what happened to Matt Malone, or they probably heard it on voice comms, what have you. A driver up front who put himself in the hornet's nest, and you can see what's happened. So it's kind of nerve-wracking to make that call, but you know that you have to pit, and you know that the pit stop has to get made. And from this point, and some tires going on as well, from this point you can make it to the end, still have our top 4 or 5 who have been on the racetrack the entire race. So interesting strategies at play as we're on 1 to green.
The lights are out in the pace car. Andre, what are you seeing out here? What is your strategy for the rest of this race?
Well, I was just going to say, I think at this point, anybody that's got to come down pit road is probably a little bit terrified to do so, because everybody who's taken themselves off strategy and wound up further back in the pack has had some sort of misfortune befall them. So, you know, Dejano, Toot, and then Mark Royce, those guys were so fast, and now they are going to be a little bit further back in the field, having to deal with traffic. You can see Mark Cohn back in 20th, Dejano Toot 22nd. It is going to be chaos. But here we go. Pace car down pit road. Through the Geico restart zone we go. Ryan Kimball going to lead him to the green flag. Andrew Bailing in that very familiar outside lane. Tom went behind him with Luis Henriquez as well. Immediately to the solo lead goes Ryan Campbell, able to get a good jump there, but Bailing no slouch on these restarts. To the podium goes Henriquez. Single file top 3, 2 wide after that. Through the corner, look at that, on the apron. Bailing is going to force the issue. That was 2 tires on the apron, got to the low side, somehow did not scrub the momentum, and now on the outside, looks like Campbell has absolutely 0 draft help. That is going to put the new leader, Andrew Bailing, but can he hold on to it?
Looked like a little bit of a can opener move. It looked like Campbell maybe thought the better of it and gave him the space that he needed. Otherwise, if Bailing was coming through, whether he wanted him to or not, Bailing's going to have the inside run here. He's going to have help there on the bottom. Campbell's still up there by himself with no help on the high line. It's going to keep running. Bailing's going to run a little bit wide, a little bit of door-to-door contact. That's going to shake it up. As now we see is that Taylor Blant jumping up to the high line. He's going to get up there and push Campbell a little bit. But which of these lines is going to form up? These guys up here, they do not have new tires, so they probably lost a little bit of temperature during the yellow, but they do not have the grip that they had at the start of the race. So we're going to see a lot more slipping and sliding, and that's exactly what we saw as Andrew Bailing had to slide up the track and catch the car a little bit. And Ryan Campbell goes back to the lead. Challenger division leading the way here all night.
Right now, super close racing here as Bailing got right to the back bumper of Campbell through 1 and 2. Dirt, you said the safest place is P1. I'm going to say there's not a safe place at all, because you can't control if that P2 car gives you a bad bump draft, as there goes the 6 of Henriquez giving a bump to Bailing through 3 and 4. And all the while, Campbell trying to figure out what line to block, what line is going to persevere, try to play the traffic cop here on lap number 35.
15 minutes left to go in this race. The yellow flag is out one more time. It looks like maybe Jeff Schnackle involved in something. No, maybe not. Trying to see Andrus possibly. I'm hearing.
Yeah, we got 2 cars playing in the AstroTurf here on the front stretch. Andrus and Schnackle, indeed. Double Jeff action, not in a positive way.
The 2 Jeffs are gonna go play down in the sand pit there on the infield. Need to get those guys rolling in the right direction again. We'll see what happened there. Is it coming? Look at this back here in the back of the pack, running 3 wide. 3 cars come together, coming into the dog leg, and big contact there on the outside. And another car parked on the inside. Somebody else, Schnackle, just diving through. It looks like Schnackle initiated that contact with Dave Moore, and then Jeff Andrews collected as he spun down the track. Schnackle with the heavy damage on the outside wall there. It looks like maybe Dave Moore got out of there with relatively little damage. We'll see if he's able to continue on. But the back of the pack has seemed to be the danger zone so far tonight.
Yeah, you don't want to find yourself back there, that's for sure. And it looked like just a bit of awareness issue. It was like he was drifting high, not really thinking anybody was up there, and then boom, there's a car, and next thing you know, you're playing Dukes of Hazzard through the infield, and what a what a machine he's trying to limp back to pit road. That is the second car without a left front we've seen just drag sledding it back to his stall. See if he can't maybe get a new one fitted on there. He's going to need more than a new tire. He might need to get out the backup car and change the right side tires. That's the issue, team.
Throw everything at
car
it.
that's still at the shop there, Dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's going to need a new front clip, a new rear clip, a new Hans device, maybe even a new diaper to wear after that heavy impact with the outside wall. Ryan Campbell continues to lead the way. Luis Enriquez has found his way back up to P2. So Luis taking the strategy of trying to run up front the entire night, and it's worked out for him so far. We look down the field, Luke Sudengay is up to 15th or 16th. It keeps moving around because we're underpacing. Kevin Parrish back to 22nd now, so I think he came in on that last cycle. We'll see if Luis comes in this time. I suspect most of these leaders will come in this time by, but we're getting to that point. There's only 13 minutes left in the race, or just about 12 minutes left in this race. It's going to be now or never.
Now, there's only 2 drivers from my back-end numbers that I have, Campbell and Enriquez, the only 2 that have been on the track the entire time. So, obviously our loose rule on ovals is that for every lap of caution, that's equivalent to 2 laps of green. I don't know if we have our caution stats anywhere, but probably, what is this, 5 cautions, maybe 12, 13 laps? That's probably added 10 laps of range to their estimations.
It probably has. I'm going to say that it is fewer cautions than I expected, but more than I hoped for. They have gotten some green flag runs out of this. I think maybe 12 laps is about the longest we've seen, though. So they've been pretty spaced out, these yellows. We had a couple that were back-to-back, but we've had a couple good green flag runs. Hopefully we have one more here for the end of the race. We have a nice shootout, but it doesn't look like anybody's going to be taking on pit lane this time. They'll be coming to the 1 to go sign this time. This is the last hurrah. Do you think that any of these drivers can make it without even stopping?
It's going to be really close, I think, because we've had enough pace laps that that in and of itself helps. But another thing to think about here is that if you're not the lead car, generally in a pack this big, you don't have to be full throttle all the way around the track to keep up with everybody else. You can kind of let off the throttle just a little bit, right about 3/4, maybe even drag the brake a bit, and that also saves fuel. So if we get another couple of cautions within 10 minutes remaining in this race, I think it is within the realm of possibility. Henriquez and Campbell definitely could. But if we stay green, things get a little bit sketchy.
Definitely going to get sketchy indeed, and just doing loose math, about 1 minute and 35 seconds for each caution lap. So we're looking at about 5 minutes per caution. So realistically, we could only have maybe 2 or 3 cautions at most, and then we'll be cutting it super close to the end. So we'll be watching the timer, watching the action, watching the lead. A lot of stuff to follow, and we'll see if some of those guys that haven't pit front row, what's their strategy going to be?
Ryan Campbell's going to lead them off turn 4. We're going to see the pace car dive into the pit lane. And Ryan Campbell's going to lead them down to the restart zone. Luis Enriquez is going to be starting outside of him. Brandon Smith, Dave Moore, Matt Thompson. Joe Sacchetti up in 6th place is going to be leading the way for the amateur division. We got a Christmas tree up front. Green flag is in the air one more time. Ryan Campbell leads them down to turn 1. Luis Enriquez, nobody in 2nd place, has been able to get a good jump after that initial start of the race. But Luis Enriquez is going to try to fight his way down into the line, and he's going to have, we got a caution already. Here we go. It's eye-pacing.
Well,
Kevin Parrish is
involved. No. That is a big thing. Kevin Parrish was right up there in the points.
His left front is still on, but it is in hockey puck mode.
Oh, is Kevin Parrish getting turned
Royce
across the nose of Mark Royce? Maybe it looked like Parrish was pinch. I didn't have a good angle on that to see if he was pinching down or if
it looked like he might have been loose.
Could have
been
been
4 wide in the quad oval, so that was
yeah. That's a hairy situation on a start. Maybe he money shifted it. That could have even happened. Who knows? But it looked like he was definitely getting loose already, and then he just turns across Ballant's nose. That takes out 2 of the really quick drivers here in AMS, Kevin Parrish and Taylor Ballant. They're going to try to get those cars repaired. Huge championship implications there, having Kevin Parrish wreck, though.
To go to a technical analysis here, the iRacing spotter, which most drivers are going to be using, the default, AI-driven spotter, it calls 3 wide, but it does not have the wherewithal to call 4 wide. So those drivers were giving each other the space that they needed, but they did not realize Blount was going to be down there for the 4 wide move, and obviously the space was not given for it.
Yeah, and he probably even got a 3 wide middle call, so he would have thought that there was only 1 car below him. It is one of the things that is very lacking in the iRacing world here on ovals, that you really have to be careful on those restarts. You gotta really stick to a line, and if you don't have a lot of oval experience, you're not going to be ready for that at all. Is now Ryan Campbell's going to cross the line. We're now starting lap 41. We are closing in on that 45-minute mark. We'll see them probably get the one to go next time by. They're still waiting to catch the pace car, so this is going to hopefully be a short yellow.
Yeah, I can see on the back end, admin actually expediting the caution flag here by a lap. So trying to obviously fill in the as much time as we can here, knowing that we're cutting it close. So we are on 1 to green this time by. A bunch of drivers going full send to catch the back of the field, but ready or not, here we come.
Yeah, and he's also been instructed that if it goes yellow one more time, that they're going to go single file restart. So hopefully they can keep it clean here. This could have thrown a wrench into the plans of Ryan Campbell and Luis Enriquez. They could have been planning to pit this time. But this could also be helping their case to make it to the end. We'll see how it plays out. One more time, the pace car is going to make its way to the safety of the pit lane. And we're going to see Ryan Campbell lead the field down to the restart zone. We'll see if Luis Enriquez is able to get a better start here in P2 and try to fall on the line. There it goes, the pace car. Now the field is in Ryan Campbell's hands. Hopefully for the last time, we're going to see a restart here. Green flag in the air. Ryan Campbell puts the foot down. Luis Enriquez not able to get clear of Brandon Smith just yet, but it looks like he might have him by turn 1. He could be able to fall down in the line and be safely in second place, but no, he's going to be running the high line. Brandon Smith going to have the inside run. And who's that? Matt Thompson there in 4th. Super Dave Moore up to 5th place. We got a race, boys.
We do have a race, and I want to keep an eye on Mark Cohn in 10th place. He was down into, I believe, 23rd. Yep, here we go again. But Mark Cohn, as I was saying, no caution yet. He was 23rd last time we looked. He's up to P10, so he's gained a lot. Big loose out of Brandon Carl. What a maneuver that was. I don't know how he saved that thing. But,
he is clutching the waifu for dear life. That's how he saved it. He managed to get that car pointed back in the right direction. No caution out, so whatever happened there in the back, they got cleared off the track. And it's going to be Ryan Campbell leading over Luis Enriquez over Brandon Smith, and they're going to be 2 wide behind the leader. And it's going to start getting punchy, boys. This is the time when the gloves go out the window.
Yeah, Freddie Weaver just had life end before his eyes there, but obviously Barney letting them play here. But here we go for the race lead. We're 2 by 2. The outside lane, as we expected, starting to come into play more. So I think that's where you're going to have to make your runs, and getting to the inside could be very hard to complete and clear those passes.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but they got to go. I mean, we have 5 minutes left. We're probably not even going to make it to lap 60, probably more like lap 54-ish, give or take. So we are in the home stretch. These guys got to make their move if they want to make it. But I tell you what, if you're Luis Enriquez, your championship rival just got involved in a wreck. He is back there in 30th. At this point, your goal is to survive, not necessarily win. Just make sure you get as many points as you can. And that's what he's doing, but he's also kind of in the danger zone because he is 2 wide. And I know that these drivers behind Brandon Smith, Dave Moore, Matt Thompson, you think they're just going to ride behind Luis Enriquez? You think they're just going to? No, they're going to make some moves. And before long, it's going to be 3, maybe even 4 wide. That's where things get really scary. We got an army of Randall McGrews back there, by the way. All these teams. Hard to tell apart, but yeah, they're all grouped together now.
The loudest group of Mustangs I've ever heard in my life. And cue the Molly Hatchet, because Luis Enriquez was flirting with disaster there with Brandon Smith there for a couple moments as they made their way into the dog leg. Looked like he got a little bit loose. As we got here, Dan Ott's going to get a run up the inside. There's a big incident on the outside. He's going to be clear of it. Caution is out in the air one more time. Looks like they're probably going to be going to a green-white checkered if I had to guess. And who was that involved in that crash? We see a couple stricken cars, Kevin Buckles and John Casey.
Yep. Yeah, we'll get a replay queued up here, but Dirt, we're going to have to go back on some of our old knowledge here. But oval timed races under caution, basically we all have no guess as to what the iRacing gods are going to give us. So This could be a green-white checker. It could finish under yellow. It could be a one-lap shootout. I've seen. So here we go.
Lucy.
Outside of the racetrack there. Someone going to the inside, making a good move through the grass.
So yeah, something happened to Hosey there. You seen him front of the frame, then rear of the frame. Now we're going 3 wide here. Another angle of it. Yeah,
right
just a
rear
little
hook.
bit off the bumper, John Casey. And that's how Charlie Hosey got involved and up into the outside wall. They went. David Finch, he must have been watching some Dukes of Hazzard recently. He took it through the chicane and survived by doing it. Just another look at it. They're just kind of bouncing off each other's doors. And I tell you what, on an oval like this, when you start bouncing off each other, it feels like there's a magnet. It just pulls you together. Your car wants to keep snapping back into the car you just hit. I think that, yeah, you can see that's exactly what happened.
That quad oval, as we said, is not as easy as it may appear. It is essentially 2 individual turns, unlike at higher speed where it's just 1. And again, sad time to leave me loose wheel. There you go.
Little Chicken Racing is coming in with 1 wing short of a bucket there as we watch Ed Sanchinelli. He's got a lot of damage on that car. He picked up something in that incident. He's going to be coming off pit lane and trying to catch the field. Lots of meatballs there on the leaderboard. It is definitely $5 footlong season on pit lane. Ryan Campbell continues to lead the way. We have no idea how this is going to shake out, but it looks like they're going to be going green before they get to the 45-minute mark. Oh, here he comes. He's going to have to pit. And also Luis Henriquez, they're both coming into pit lane. They did not have enough fuel to make it after all, even with these cautions. Maybe they did have enough fuel and they're worried about green-white checkers.
But again, so we're 45 minutes, and even though we are under caution, green-white, I'm trying to explain this in a very simplistic way, but we only have a minute and a half left. This caution lap is going to take us to the point where we could actually get the white flag under caution at the stripe. I've seen every scenario plausible happen in these oval timer scenarios. It's really anybody's guess. At best, I think we're going to get a 1-lap shootout at best.
Well, that's his call. We'll see what happens as the leader comes to the line. But we are running up against time, and the leader is on the back straight right now. That leader, Brandon Smith in the Challenger Division. It's been a Challenger Division night all night long. Is he going to make it? Is everybody going to have the fuel? Dave Moore there lurking in 2nd position. And I thought that was him involved in an incident earlier. It was not Dave Moore. It was somebody else. Super Dave Moore hanging out there in 2nd position. Matt Thompson in 3rd position. Joe Sacchetti in Amateur Division. Could be true. It could come true. We could have an amateur on the podium. Chuck Albano rounding out the top 5 as they're going to be coming down to the stripe for the last time. I do not see them in double file line.
That's going to be very important if we got to keep an eye on Barney here. We very easily could get the white flag right now because we are now going to take the stripe with less than the amount of time to complete 1 lap.
So it's so far just the yellow flag in the air. The lights on the pace car are out, so they should be going green next time.
This is the end of the server right here. This is the end of the allotted time, and now we're getting doubled up. So is it going to give them a stealth checkered flag, or are we going to race? We're not going to know literally till turn 4.
It's anybody's guess. Hopefully it's a green-white checker. That's what we're hoping for here. At least one attempt at a green-white checker. We'll see how it plays out. But Brandon Smith could be inheriting a win here just because Ryan Campbell and Luis Henriquez didn't have enough fuel to pace around for a couple more laps. Maybe they'll be kicking themselves for having to come down pit lane in the end. After all, Brandon Smith controlling this field. As soon as the pace car dips into pit lane, they are stacked up double file as if they're going to start. We have no idea what flag we're going to see. It could be the green flag. It could be the checkered flag. Who knows? But Brandon Smith is going to be ready to put that throttle down. Dave Moore going to be looking to get a great jump off the start. And Joe Sacchetti going to be looking at his way to get his way onto the podium as they enter turn 3 for presumably one of the last times, hopefully the last time under caution, hopefully not the last time for the night. I have no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
If only we could get some consistency.
I don't have no idea.
He's got the green flag in his hand, so we're going to be going back to racing, boys. Oh, maybe no checkered flag is going to be in the air. Barney, make up your mind. He's a schizophrenic in the flag stand, and it's going to be Brandon Smith coming home to take the win here at Charlotte in a very anticlimactic finish. Dave, black flags, who knows what's going on anymore? Did he jump the pace car? Brandon Smith is going to win the race. Dave Moore is going to come home second. Joe Sacchetti does score in third place, so I guess they got the race to the line.
Wait, are they going to clear those blacks?
They will definitely be clearing those
Okay, just making sure.
We will definitely be clearing those
It would
blacks.
be very fitting for this crazy race if Joe Sacchetti did win, though. With those black flags. And we are playing Demo Derby out of turn 2. Just trying
to clear penalties, so you guys carry on.
Some last
Now Smith and Moore, they've been on my timing, relegated to 21st and 22nd already. So, but we know who won, and again, it's not the most exciting way to end it, but that's how it happens. And there's our end of era final lap follies here going on at Charlotte.
That reminds me. Go ahead.
It looked like that our steward was trying to clear penalties. Regardless of what iRacing is saying, Brandon Smith won this race. Dave Moore finished in second place. That's what the points will reflect whenever they are uploaded. I will make sure of that myself. However, that's going to make Aaron Bray, our statistician, have to do a little bit of work before he uploads the points. It might cause a bit of a delay. But we did have a challenger win, and I called it. We have an amateur on the podium. What a wacky race here for the first time on the oval for the Mustangs here in the American Muscle Series. Guys, what do you think? Should we do this again?
I think it would be fun. I think if we did it again, maybe take the timer away. But either way, this was quite the event. And the way that it ended, I was going to say it reminds me of, I want to say it was 2000. I don't remember exactly when it was. Maybe 2019. It was Kurt Busch who was leading the race. Rain was on the way at Daytona, and everybody knew the rain was coming. But a few drivers thought maybe we'll get some more laps. Kurt Busch pulls into the pit road from the lead, gives it to Justin Haley, and immediately lightning strikes, race over. Kurt Busch would have won that race if he just stayed on the track, and that is pretty much what happened there to those two leaders that came down pit road. I think they could have made it under pacing, but they weren't sure what was going to go on, so they just lost a lot of positions. Happens in real life. That is not just a sim thing. But boy, what an event. I mean, just so different from what we're used to.
Absolutely a fun time here to come back and kind of reflect with some of these guys. Randall, again, I want to thank you for obviously bringing us on board for a few seasons and letting me come back for this little interesting night of fun here at Charlotte, and definitely recommend. Of course, a little bit of changes here and there, but putting these things on an oval definitely has to happen again.
Well, it was glad to have you guys back. We're still waiting on the official results to come in to go through the final classification, whatever it actually is going to show us. Still waiting to see how that shakes out, but we have Brandon Moore winning this race. It was glad to have you back, Corey, to get you back. I knew we had to have you back as soon as I decided we're going to have an oval race to end the season. We knew we had to have Corey Silva back in the booth one more time because you were asking for it so much. When are you going to get these things on oval? When are you going to get these things on oval? Well, here you go. I'm glad you can make it with us.
Absolutely, wouldn't miss it.
We see the demo derby going on the infield now and waiting. Going to have those official standings coming in, or some semi-official standings, and it's going to show Joe Sacchetti as the winner, but that's not true. Brandon Smith won this race in the number 197 Challenger Division entry. Dave Moore is going to finish in second place. Joe Sacchetti in third place. Matt Thompson in fourth place. Chuck Labano fifth. Mark Cohn in sixth. Neil Kemp is going to finish in seventh place. Jay Bass, we didn't talk about him all night long, comes home with a solid top 10 finish in eighth place. Matthew Gazinda, another driver we didn't talk about all night, up 15 spots from where he qualified, finishes in ninth place. Fabian Zweyer is going to round out the top 10.
Andrew Baling going to be P11, Luke Sudengay 12th, Levi Powell going to be P13, Dahan 02. He had a bit of a poor strategy, brought him back. He is P14. Daniel Gabaldon, he was involved in a wreck early on, but rallies back to P15. Mark Royce, P16. Brandon Carl is going to be 17th, 18th, and 19th. Go to David Finch and Aaron Bray. Running out the top 20, Luis Henriquez, who had a chance to win, but came down pit road just a little late.
What are we on? 21st is Brandon Smith, David Moore 22nd, John Casey in 23rd, Ed Sancinelli 24th, Kevin Buckles 25th, Scott Brooks 26th. We got Charlie Hosty in 27th. Freddie Weaver going to be in 28th. Scrolling it back a little further, we got Jeff Andrus and Mike Neekum rounding out our top 30. And just to wind things out, Tom went 31st. Matt Malone, obviously that pit strategy went astray. 32nd, Andy Bell, Kevin Parrish, Jeff Schnackle, and David Blair shotgun on the field.
And we had a little bit of money left in the league kitty after all the payouts were established. We get a few pennies in there at the end of every season, and they've accumulated. And we're giving out a very special booby prize for the first time this season here in the American Muscle Series to the driver that finished in 29th place, Jeff Andrus. He will win a whopping $2.09. Congratulations, Freddie. Or sorry, Jeff. That and $5 will get you a cup of coffee. So now we go on to the interviews. I'm trying to see where everything's going crazy over here. Trying to find the interview booth. Who are we going to have here in first? Normally it's the Pro Division winner that we have in here first, but this time it was the Challenger Division that come home first. So Brandon Smith, you get your first win of the season overall. First time we've seen somebody outside the Pro Division win overall in a wild race and a very anticlimactic finish. Tell us what it was like for you out there.
I would say I'm more of an oval guy, but I still didn't expect to do anything tonight. It was definitely a crazy race.
So what was going through your head when you saw Ryan Campbell and Luis Henriquez pull off into pit lane there with just a couple minutes left on the clock?
I had my wife put on the broadcast so I could kind of hear what you were saying about the time, but I was still confused because my time had said 0 about a minute before yours did, so I really had no idea. And then once we got to that final restart, I just gunned it, and then it gave me the penalty. I didn't know what was happening.
Well, don't worry. It's going to shake out. You got the win. Everybody knows that you got the win. Congratulations, buddy. Before we let you go celebrate, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
I will thank my wife for letting me do this, and she just let me upgrade to a full Ace Attack setup last week, so I guess I can credit that for getting me the win tonight.
Well, awesome job. Congratulations. Hopefully you're back next season, and hopefully you get a few more of these interviews.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was fun season. I wish we could start over with my new setup, but hopefully this is the start of more to come.
Awesome. Well, good job, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
That was your overall winner and Challenger Division winner, Brandon Smith. And Dirt, I'm going to give you the Pro Division winner and second place finisher, David Moore.
Super Dave Moore, you got a copy?
I got you guys.
Well, Dave, you ran a really good race. You were pretty much up inside the top 5 all night long. You never really missed a beat with the strategy. You kept yourself in play. And then when it all came down to it, you got yourself a division win and an overall podium. This was a ridiculous race from top to bottom. So many crazy things going on. Tell me a little bit about it from your perspective.
It was interesting because this was the race where it didn't matter where you're amateur, challenger, or pro. Ovals, kind of everybody. It's a big equalizer because it's not heel toe and everything else. It was just who was being really good on the throttle and just taking a good line through the corners. A little bit on setup. I know a lot of the guys were trying to share setups and stuff to kind of make it a little more balanced. It was a bit wild. There was a lot of good runs and you had to be patient because you would either tap the guy in front or drop back too far, thinking that you didn't want to get too close, and then somebody would go for the gap. But it was a fun way to end the season. I don't know if I'd want to do it again, but definitely it was a fun time.
Yeah, it was definitely unique. And on the road courses in AMS, we're no strangers to 2 and 3 wide. We see that a lot week in and week out. But what you don't see is that 2 and 3 wide sustained over an entire stint. Did you feel like you were a little bit more on edge, like you had to be a little bit more honed in on spatial awareness?
Yeah, you definitely couldn't come up, like if you had the inside going through the corner on the banking, you couldn't just come up to try to take the line because you would have just you would have took out another car and caused a pileup. I think there might have been a couple of those instances during the race from what I saw. But yeah, you definitely had to give a lot of respect. And it's funny, it's like, I don't know how many cautions we really had. This was still cleaner than most of the races with a NASCAR race. Any of the NASCAR Cup Series cars here on iRacing. So I think, I think we still did a good job, especially for guys that were just like, what happens when the caution comes out? I mean, everybody adapted and learned really good.
I agree. You guys did a really good job. And even Randall and I were saying, obviously more cautions than we were hoping for, but fewer than we expected. You guys really did adapt to it very quickly. Seems like you picked up to it. The restarts and everything, you guys you nailed it. It looked like you've been doing this for quite a while, when in reality, quite a few of you probably were doing it for the first time tonight. So phenomenal job to you and the other drivers. Congratulations on your division win. Before we let you go, is there any shout outs you'd like to make?
The biggest shout out I can give is to Randall for putting up with us for many, many seasons and organizing it. Oh yeah, but no, you definitely you kept me in this after I first started, and I kind of few seasons ago, and you kind of kept me in it by just talking to me and helping me a little bit until you promoted me early because I was faster than you in qualifying. But I don't hold grudges. And then just the whole team, but also my lovely wife who makes this possible for me to race every weekend or every week. She supports this, and my parents who are watching from home, they watch the races every week, and I probably have a text or two from them. So, and thanks for SMB for you guys. You guys do a great job with the broadcast, one of the best ones going, I think, right now. So keep up the great work with that.
David, I got one thing to say. We can hang out just because Randall's not here. You and I can still hang out. We're pretty close.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah. We can meet in Carson, right?
We could. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Screw Randall. He doesn't need to be around.
Well, yeah. We'll exchange numbers there, Adam.
I'm down. 100%. We'll make him jealous.
Yeah. We'll get some good picks. Thank you, guys. Thanks for a great season.
Thank you for your time. We'll see you next year.
That was Super Dave Moore, your Pro Division winner, overall second place. That's the first time we've had that happen. And now your Amateur Division winner and the guy that made my prediction come true. We had an Amateur Division driver on the overall podium. First place in the Amateur Division, P3 overall, Joe Sacchetti. Tell us what it was like out there for you tonight.
What's up, guys? That was a lot, man. I was super pumped going into it. I said to myself all day that's what I was gonna do, and it happened. It was awesome. Butterflies, man. That was awesome.
Well, I think this is your first win in AMS. What is it like to finally get yourself into the interview booth? Are you excited? How's it feel to finally be a winner in AMS?
It's awesome. It's my second season, and man, was the first one hard, and this one was hard too. But I've come a long way as far as the overall amateur division, and obviously it's a great time, and it's great to be up here finally. I get to finally say I beat Freddie Weaver, which is awesome. I've been trying all season, and yeah, it's great, dude. It's awesome.
Well, I mean, we got management to take over, new management to take over, so you're gonna have more bites at that cherry. Hopefully, you get yourself up here in the interview booth again in the future seasons to come of the American Muscle Series. I will personally speak to your improvement over the past two seasons, because those first couple rounds I was keeping an eye on you, and it was a little touchy sometimes about whether you're going to have the pace to keep up or not. And you've really come to life here over the past 24 races, and you've really gained a lot of pace. So it's good to see you up here doing good for once.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate it. You're right. There was definitely times where I didn't have the pace, but I've tried. I've practiced a lot, and the Frito guys helped me a ton. It's been great. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on getting your win, and now let's try to make it a habit.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, man.
That is, how could I forget? I've got senioritis around here. Before we let you go celebrate, buddy, is there anybody you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out. Well, you for one, Randall. That was awesome. Everything that the league's great. I know I haven't been around a lot, but that's great job. That's been great. The guys at work are watching, my family, and my buddy Matt watches every single AMS race.
Awesome to hear. Well, congratulations, and way to finish off the season and take a lot of momentum into next season.
Thanks, man.
That was your amateur division winner and overall third place finisher. We had all 3 divisions on the overall podium, Dirt. That's wild. We've never had anything like this. I really hope that Mr. Penske decides to keep an oval race on the calendar in the future seasons.
Yeah, that was honestly a little bit spooky because on the oval side of things, usually we just interview the top 3, and over on road we interview the division winners. The division winners were the top 3 on an oval, so it kind of worked out the way that we normally do it. It was meant to be. Definitely had a lot of fun on an oval. I think Mr. iRacing Penske himself should definitely keep one oval, if not a points race, an exhibition race, maybe a money race. I'd be willing to sponsor a money race, throw some up just to get these boys back on an oval. But next time, maybe something even better, maybe Bristol.
Maybe. But before we get into anything else coming up on Slow Motion Broadcasting, as Corey slipped out, this guy managed to slip back in. Adam Thompson, I heard you have a few words to say, my friend.
Well, first of all, you guys have to quit giving me all of these privileges. I can go anywhere. It's great, but it's not good for you guys. I promise you that. Yeah, real quick. Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna try to make this short. So
you're not gonna cry again, are you?
No, not for you. Are you kidding me? There are 3 leagues that I want to mention here, and only one of them are still around on Slow Motion Broadcasting. The first one is Spec 5 World Tour. The second one is Cross Touring Cup, and the third one, and dare I say, the most important one for SMB is American Muscle Series. There are also 3 things I have on the back window of my truck. I've got an American flag, I've got a Slow Motion Broadcasting sticker, and I've got an American Muscle Series on the back window of my truck. All of that is coming back to say Slow Motion Broadcasting, I don't think would make it to where it is without American Muscle Series, and specifically without you, Randall. I had gone through quite a few issues in Slow Motion Broadcasting for quite a while. You helped me through a lot of those issues. I was brand new. I had no idea how to turn my freaking computer on, man. And you got me to a point where I could fake my way through owning a broadcasting company. Joshua Wilkie then entered the chat, literally and figuratively at that point, and basically took the reins from me, and I was super excited to see you guys come back to Slow Motion Broadcasting. That's what I want to say about the SMB side. I am so glad you guys are back on SMB, and I hope that Mr. Frito and Mr. Neekum decide to keep it on SMB because it is an awesome league to have. To the friend side, Randall, I mentioned Slow Motion Broadcasting. That's where we first met, and we met because you needed half of your league covered. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have any contracts. I was just like, yeah, come on in. And we figured it out. You helped me more than I helped you, I think. But from that blossomed a friendship that I think I can say you are one of my very, very true friends. You've helped me move when I decided to move, the countless nights on Discord. You helped me move from Phoenix up here to Nevada. You got to meet my wife. You've been to my house back in Indiana, man. You've seen my baby girl. Randall, I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you've kept American Muscle Series going, but most importantly, man, I want to thank you so much for everything you've done for me personally and as a friend. Even though you're a Marine, you are still an awesome guy, and I honor that friendship so much, man.
Well, thank you for the kind words, and it's definitely a bit of a bittersweet moment here for me. I'm glad I'm getting to finish it out on a high note. I'm glad that somebody decided to step up and take over the reins of the American Muscle Series because it's grown into something bigger than I could have ever hoped for. I wanted to build the league that I wanted to race in, and that's exactly what AMS became. I even raced in it for 4 or 5 seasons, and it was the only reason I had iRacing still installed was AMS. It was the only thing keeping me going on sim racing. And it's just time for me to move on to a different chapter of my life. I wish the best to everybody here at Slow Motion Broadcasting, everybody in the American Muscle Series. I'm going to go through a laundry list of shout outs here. And I'm sorry if I'm going to run a little bit long here on us, Joshua. I know you understand.
Are you going to cry?
I'm not going to cry, no.
Okay, good.
I haven't cried in 37 and a half years, Adam. So,
okay, whatever.
Mike Neekum, I'm going to start off with him. I shouted him out during the race before we got interrupted by a yellow flag. Mike Neekum has provided trophies for the league for many seasons. He provides AMS swag. A portion of the AMS swag sales go back into the league pot. So some of the prize money that's been given out over the past few seasons has been courtesy of Mike Neekum. And also those awesome laser etched trophies are completely one of the best things that's happened to this league. So big shout out to him. Go check out the D-Nut Stuff Etsy shop. Big shout out to Aaron Bray, who was able to tackle a task that I was wanting to tackle so bad and just never had the time to do it, and to get our stats in order and automated in a way that we could put points up almost as soon as the race was over. Nobody had to go in and do any sort of mathematics. It was just all handled automatically, all scripted out. He did a wonderful job of it, and we've been running on that point system for the past 4 or 5 seasons, and I absolutely love it. Hopefully he parlays it into something bigger that's used in other leagues. I'm pretty sure he uses it over on the Weekend Warriors League as well. You may or may not know that there's been a bit of an inner circle within the American Muscle Series for the past few seasons that I've decided to try to maybe delegate a little bit of the workout, try to get some other points of view and perspective on some of the decisions that I make, just so that it's not a 100% dictatorship. I am a benevolent dictator, but I am still a dictator, but I do have counselors that help me. So I want to give a big shout out to Aaron Bray again for that, Ed Sanchez, Matt Thompson, Mike Neekum, Chuck Labano, Phil Keck, Dave Moore. They've all been in that inner circle. Also want to give a huge shout out to Jeremy Ritchie, who's been our steward for the past 3 or 4 seasons or even longer. He came in, he just wanted to help. He didn't really have a solid footing on what he could do to help. Said he would be interested in doing stewarding. We got him spun up on how to steward a race, and he's done a phenomenal job for us. Hopefully he'll be sticking around with the Frito Sport crew to carry on the flag for AMS. But thank you so much, Jeremy, for helping. I also want to give a huge shout out to Ishmael Rivera. He's not been around with us for the past few seasons, but he definitely helped AMS get off the ground and get us rolling. He even sponsored the series for a couple seasons, juicing that prize pool so that we had a lot to race for, and he helped with the stewarding and race control in the early seasons and up through about season 6 or 7. So Ish, if you're out there listening, man, thank you so much for your help. You were an awesome dude to have around, and I hope we get to have you back around AMS more in the future. Also, shout out to Slow Motion Broadcasting, Adam Thompson. We were looking for a broadcast. We didn't have much money, and Adam picked us up off the forums, and it was a match made in heaven from there. We really took off. Slow Motion Broadcasting took off with us. It was definitely a symbiotic relationship. We were both scratching each other's back, and I made a great friend along the way. We had another broadcaster come in after Slow Motion Broadcasting was temporarily shuttered. You heard him here tonight. Corey Silva over at PTR picked us up for 2 or 3 seasons, and that's where we met Andre. Andre has been with us. Andre, it's been a pleasure to work with you, man. I'm glad you got to stick around with us here on commentary. Thank you so much for what you guys have done. It's been I can't believe we got 9 seasons in. It's been 5 awesome years of racing here with the American Muscle Series, with an awesome car, an awesome community. Also, another huge shout out goes to Matt Malone. Honestly, as awesome as this series is, I don't think it would have gotten off the ground the way it did if not for Matt Malone's participation and his pushing it as hard as he did over on his stream. If you know anything about iRacing, you know who Matt Malone is. So having that level of exposure and regional celebrity, if you were, to help out get us off the ground was a huge thing. It's bittersweet leaving, but I'm ready to move on, and I'm glad we got to leave on a high note, and I am fully confident in the abilities of Ed Sanchez and Mike Neekum to take over this league and run it, and to have a good league. I don't doubt that they're going to stay on Slow Motion Broadcasting. We'll see if everything works out. But stay tuned here, man. AMS will be back. It may not have me here. The racing is still going to be awesome. I'll be watching the broadcast. I'll be right there in the comments, so I won't be a complete stranger. But thank you guys so much for everything you've done to help us. Thank you everybody that's watched across the seasons and supported this league. It's been awesome. It's grown into something so huge, and I'm so happy to have had such a huge part in it, and to be able to shape it into something that I wanted it to be, and to be what it is now. With that said, Andre, any last thoughts?
Yeah, no, just thank you for the kind words, and thank you for giving me the chance to be up here in the booth for as long as I have been. I know that when Corey was kind of shutting down, I was like, well, dang, I was kind of getting ready to step away from commentary and kind of retire alongside him. But then you messaged me and asked if I would come back to the booth, and I said absolutely, because this league has been some of the most fun that I've ever had covering iRacing races. Absolutely love this league. The community of it is just unparalleled. I mean, I've been here for, I don't know, 3 or 4 seasons. My memory's bad, but I know that I've seen almost no arguing, no bickering in the Discord. The respect these guys have for each other is unparalleled, and it shows in the racing product. So I've had a lot of fun. I believe I will be returning to the booth wherever that winds up, as I've already been messaged by, I believe it was Mike Neekum, that asked me if I would be willing to come back. I said yes. So you guys are stuck with me at least. We're free of Randall, but you're still stuck with me. So
Thank God.
1 out of 2 isn't too bad.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Andre, and hopefully you get to be that source of continuity that this league needs so desperately as it changes gear and it goes under new management. We have some upcoming broadcasts though here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. You think American Muscle Series is all that we do? Oh heck no! So watch the wheels spin over. On the 22nd, the Ferrari Road and Oval Challenge will be taken to Michigan International Speedway, and I believe that is their first oval race in that series. So you're going to see the Ferrari GT3 cars on an oval like you saw them here tonight, except they're going to be going a lot faster. And also next Wednesday, on the 22nd, actually that's tomorrow, isn't it? SRG F3 is going to be taken to Hungaroring at 9:45 p.m. Eastern. Then the weekend kicks off with the Weekend Warriors. We have 3 races out of the Weekend Warriors. The first one on Saturday at 3:25 p.m. with the Formula V's taking to Magny Cours. And then Sunday with a double header starts off with the Formula 4s at Rudskogen, and then the Spec Racer 4s at, yes, that is Interlagos. I'm not gonna pronounce that. It's Interlagos. And then Sunday evening, the Cross Series League Racing, that's Adam Thompson's league, is going to be taking it back. They're on that looks like a dirt oval. They're on the dirt oval section of their league. They're going to be taking blocks, Lanier. Dirt big blocks at Lanier, 8:10 p.m. Eastern. And then next Tuesday, no more AMS for a few weeks. You're going to have to wait about 12 weeks before they come back. But next Tuesday at 9:45 p.m. is SRG F4 at Oschersleben. And then next Wednesday on the 29th at 9:45 p.m. SRG F3 is going to be at Olton Park. So all sorts of racing action here available for you at Slow Motion Broadcasting. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You don't want to miss a single minute of the action around here. And for the very final time, my name is Randall McGrew. I've been joined tonight by Andre Dirk Grandbouche, Corey Silva, and that pesky Adam Thompson. And we've had Joshua Wilkie in the virtual production hauler on the buttons and knobs. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you next season, season 10, about 12, 13 weeks away. If they keep to the schedule, we'll see. Keep your eyes on the Slow Motion Broadcasting for more info about the American Muscle Series. Thank you so much for the support all this season and the 9 seasons that we've had. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again real soon.